All right, district breakdown time. 3-5A Division One. I'm here with my good buddy Professor Diggs, our Inside High School Sports Insider, and we are talking. That's right. We just mentioned first of a long line of 9-team districts, but this one seems to be a lot front heavy at the top there. Talk a little bit about this district.
Yeah, it is front heavy. When you see this district, it is a amalgamation of just great football teams put together. 6 teams made the playoffs last year. We were talking off air. You joke that 5 teams that finished first. Of course, we had the 3-way tie in District 3-5A last year, but 5 teams that finished first are in this district, and we've got probably 2 of the top teams in the state in this district in Aledo and Denton Ryan. And our poor friends, the Scorpions in South Hills and the Rough Riders at Saginaw, had to be looking at this district and just kind of shaking their head because it is going to be a packed district at the top. And even in the middle, I think there's going to be a lot of action in the middle, a lot of competitiveness. Really from 3 to 7, I think we're going to see a lot of competitiveness.
Well, you talked about the top 2 dogs. October 21st is the day we got circled. That's when they go at it up at probably Collins, I would assume. Talk to me about who you think may come out on top, and what are some of the strengths of those 2 teams if we start right there?
Yeah, Aledo is really kind of feeling the pain from last year's loss to South Oak Cliff. And they're reloading in a way where I know a lot of the Aledo fan base is very excited about this team coming up. The expected quarterback is going to be Haas Haney. They just had a track and field meet where he ran the second fastest time in the region at a 10.68 100-meter dash. So got some speed, got arm skills. We know Jaden Allen, the Texas commit, is going to be back. He's going to be playing both sides of the ball. And they're really putting hanging their hat on their defense. 2 really good linebackers in Cat Mooney and Devon Keys going to be coming back next year for Aledo. Running back, Aledo being running back university over the last 15 years, that's really going to be the question for Aledo is what's their running game going to be like? Whereas Denton Ryan has their running game kind of on lockdown with Caleb Hicks already. But I think the big question for Denton Ryan is going to be how is their quarterback, Kalon Davis, going to fare? He had a good year last year, but he's going to have an elite year if he's going to get to that state to win the region and make it to the state semifinals.
Yeah, you're exactly right about Goodyear. He made the plays he had to, but he didn't make the extra plays, the plays that Seth Hennigan or heck, even take you deeper back, Scotty Young might have made it back in the day. Let's talk about that middle section there. We talked about the 3 teams that finished tied for first, Northwest, Azle, and Brewer. Brewer's got a new coach coming in there, and Northwest has got the talk of the summer with Jake Strong. But what I want to talk about, he put up the big numbers, but he threw 12 picks in a district that wasn't as good as the one he's in now, or at least the defenses you just mentioned. Is that going to be an issue? Does he need to clean that up a little bit?
I think he does, but I'm really more worried about the defense. We've seen some really big, high offensive outputs from Justin Northwest the last 5 to 6 years, and Justin Northwest is going to have a very strong offensive side of the ball, but I think it's going to be the defensive side of the ball, and as well as you mentioned some of those intangibles there. I know Inside High School Sports was at the Burleson Centennial game with me last year at the Justin Northwest game, and that was a really good slugfest, and it kind of showed that a good defense will shut down Justin Northwest, and their defense is not, is a little bit porous at times. So I think Justin Northwest is going to have to outshoot everybody, which is going to kind of put a lot on Jake Strong's shoulders. I really like Burleson Centennial. They were very young last year. They run that triple option in a 9-team district where it's going to get very clogged in the middle. They have that it factor. Philip Hamilton is coming back for his 3rd year. He's going to be a 3-year starter at quarterback. He did everything last year for Burleson Centennial. Elijah Zeh is going to be the running back for Burleson Centennial, one of 3 or 4. They rotated lots of running backs in, obviously, with the triple option. So they have a lot of experience at running back, and their defense is very good. I really like Burleson Centennial. And not only do I like Burleson Centennial, but just think about that Denton Ryan Burleson Centennial game. That's kind of an upset watch for me if Denton Ryan doesn't get that offensive side of the ball figured out, because that kind of slugfest when you kind of decompress press the game and low possession sort of game, 1 or 2 turnovers, Burleson Centennial could be a shocker. But I never answered your question on the last game. I think Denton Ryan will beat Aledo, but I think we're going to see Denton Ryan and Aledo play each other twice. I don't know if Denton Ryan's going to win that second game, and I think that's the one that's going to be the most important.
I like to hear that. I like these late season predictions in the early season from you. I guess let's talk a little bit about the Colony, one of the teams that we haven't discussed. I think we're both in agreement on South Hills going through their growing pains, moving up a division, and Saginaw's going to try to rough it out, if you will, for a win or two. But talk a little bit about the Colony in this district.
Yeah, the Colony has been a hard luck team the last couple of years. They've been obviously districted with Denton Ryan and some of the Frisco schools the past few years, but they're only a few years away from making some really good playoff runs and having a couple of really good playoff wins. Camden Wesley, their running back, is going to be coming back, so they're going to have some firepower offensively, but I don't know if they're going to have the depth. But Louisville ISD has always been they have good depth. And even though the Colony is the smallest of those 5 Louisville ISD schools, the Colony has always been kind of the afterthought. And over the last 10 years, they've kind of stepped up in the 5A role to be a team that's kind of stepped out of the shadow of the big brothers and sisters in Louisville, Hebron, and the Flower Mountain schools. I think that the Colony is going to compete for that 4th playoff spot. But for me, I don't know if they have enough offensive firepower other than Wesley, who's going to be coming at quarterback. Will the receivers be able to step up? I think they're going to have the size on the defensive side of the ball to give Azel and Brewer and teams like that a problem. Azel graduated everybody this past year. I'm a big Azel fan in general, and they got Drew Doris coming back at linebacker, but they're hit really hard. So unless they had a really good freshman class that I'm unaware of, I think Azel's going to have some growing pains in this district as well.
Well, we come to my favorite part of every district breakdown, where we make poor Diggs, who hasn't seen a game yet in early April, pick the 4 teams that he thinks are going to go to the playoffs. If you could tell me 1 through 4 here in mid-April, go right ahead.
We'll do it. I got Denton Ryan 1, even though one thing I'm even more concerned about Denton Ryan that I didn't mention is they've only got 9 games right now and only 1 non-district game scheduled against New Braunfels. So I'm a little curious how that's going to play into role, but I think they're going to have the depth to for the first 10 weeks. I think I'm going to have them as the favorite. Got Aledo number 2. I like Burleson Centennial a lot at number 3, and I like Justin Northwest at number 4. I've got Brewer at 5. I know you didn't ask for that, and Azel at 6, and the Colony at 7. But those 3 teams, I wouldn't be surprised to see either one of those 3 teams jump up to that 4th spot.
All right, Diggsy, I know you gotta go, and we are going to talk 4-5A Division I next. Another 9-team district with not a lot of DFW teams in there, but enough to feed your palate for sure.
Hey, we'll go boating on Lake Belton for research.
There we go.